Let's move on to the second half of the lesson today, and we will be focusing on making inferences. I'm now going to show you a picture, and you will be given 1 minute to look for clues or details in the picture, and then I would like you to make several guesses. So can you think about the following questions? What incident is the picture about? What are they doing? And also, how do you know? So if you're ready, let's start. Okay, time's up. Let's try to think about what we can see from the picture. And these are my observations. For example, we can see two men are wearing masks and also white protective clothes. They are also holding a kind of device or detector in their hands. And we've got a little boy standing with his hands up, and he looks kind of scared. The boy seems, it seems that the boy would like to cry. And a little girl is also wearing a mask, and also there is a black curtain behind them. Okay, so these are actually our observations. At the same time, can you think about what you know and also what you not know? Why do people wear masks? I guess we all understand now. We wear them to protect ourselves from being infected, am I right? But what about a portable device that the man was holding? Can we actually detect whether a person is infected or not by just a portable device? Probably yes, but it depends. If it is an infectious disease, can we detect it with a portable device? I guess probably we have to say no to these questions, right? So it mustn't be related to infectious diseases like coronavirus. So who are they and where are they? What does the machine do? What kind of thing does it detect? So based on what we can observe from the picture, what we know and also what we not know, I would come up with the following guess. Probably this is a picture taken after the Fukushima nuclear disaster that happened in Japan a few years ago. And what the two men are trying to do is to detect whether or not the children have been exposed to radiation. And this can actually be done by a portable device like the one held by the two men in the picture. What we have done so far in the previous activity is actually trying to infer implicit meanings from a picture. But of course, when it is about paper one, the reading paper, it is about how we can infer implicit meanings from a reading text. So it is all about making reasonable guesses of what the writer has not directly stated in the text. So we are trying to make several reasonable guesses, but then they're not just blind guesses, and we have to rely on textual information or textual evidence, at the same time background knowledge. Textual evidence means the clues from the text. For example, the specific information we can see in the text, like what we can observe in the pictures previously. But at the same time, we also need to pay attention to how such information is presented. For example, we have to consider the word choice and also the tone used by the writer. Um, these would be probably what we expect students to do at Form 4 level, in particular about like true, false, and not given questions. But now, we want you to try something. We want you to challenge yourself. When you try to infer implicit meanings, you also need to use your own background knowledge. That is about your world knowledge, your common sense, and also your past experience. And this chart can actually sum up what we want you to do. When you try to make inferences, you have to use and combine textual evidence and also background knowledge. Here we are talking about fact, idea, word choice, and tone, and these can be found in a reading text. At the same time, you have to combine them with your own background knowledge, that is, information and knowledge from yourself and not from the text. And then you can try to make reasonable guesses before you can reach your conclusions. Actually, we make a lot of inferences when we read. And let's try when you read the following paragraph. I'll give you about 30 seconds. As you read, can you try to think about which animal causes the most human deaths annually? Well, I guess most of you know the answer. Let's pay attention to the underlined sentences. These are actually what we call the textual evidence. They are the underlined part telling us some characteristics of these type of animal. At the same time, we have to rely on our own background knowledge. And I assume most of us have read news articles about mosquitoes carrying Zika virus or causing dengue fever. So, with textual evidence and our background knowledge, we would know the text is all about mosquitoes. Okay, now let's read an article about crude cash, and I would like you to spend about 3 minutes reading these 4 paragraphs, and then there will be 3 questions for you to answer. The question would require you to infer some implicit meanings from the text. So let's start with paragraphs 1 and 2. All right, time's up. Okay, so please look at paragraph 2 and 3 again, and then I would like you to answer the following question. Who do you think are the people who have the most to lose through stricter regulations on human activities that contribute to the problem? That is the underlined sentence here. So I give you about 1 minute to think. Okay, time's up. We can look at these two paragraphs. So we are saying that reducing global warming is everyone's concern. Um, there are those who deny the severity. That means there are some people who deny the problem is very serious. Who are they? So the people who have the most to lose. Now, most scientists are in agreement with the subject. Fossil fuel industry then has been forced to look into other ways to influence the public debate to their disadvantage. So when every scientist agrees that it is our concern, so there is a group of people, okay, now who has to look into other ways to change the public opinion so that uh, they would have benefits. So obviously the answer here would be the fossil fuel industry, or you may say the big oil companies or the oil producing countries. Okay, question 2. What do you think the shady deals are? Can you look at paragraph 3 and 4, in particular paragraph 4, and then think about the answer? Okay, so when you think about these questions, you will need to pay attention to the two keywords, shady and also deals. So for deals, it would all be about like transaction or kind of exchange. And then what about the word shady? Shady is obviously like an adjective from shade. Why should such an exchange or like transaction be in the shade? That is, it shouldn't be known by the public. So probably we would know that one party would receive some kind of benefits, and that may be illegal. So when you look at these part, um, although many oil producing states or countries have already committed to gradually shifting their focus away from petrodollars, that means most of the countries there, they should no longer focus on petrodollars, that means the oil industry, transparency is needed to ensure politicians act in the best interest of the people they represent, rather than making such a deal with company for easy money. So probably shady deals would be some kind of transaction between the politicians and also with such oil companies and for easy money. So that may be a kind of illegal. And if they have done such a deal, then they would not represent. They are not acting in the best interest of the people they represent. And obviously, it would become like the best interest of these oil companies. So here we have the answer. Um, the shady deals would refer to probably the money oil companies give politicians in exchange for their support, okay, or like in for their support in public policy that favor them, okay, or you may say the transaction between uh, politicians and also the oil company that benefit the oil companies. So these would be acceptable answers. So question 3, it would be very similar to question 2, so I'll give you less time. What kind of public policy would fossil fuel companies attempt to influence by funding politicians? So I would like you to be more specific about public policy. So you may start your answer with public policy that is about, and then you can continue to write your answer. If you look at paragraph 4, so I guess this part would be about, it would be more related to public policy. So you can say like, there remains hope that individual politicians and government can persist through the necessary shift to renewable energy sources over the next few years and decades away from fossil fuels. So when you think of the answer here, you can relate it to this part. So the answer should be like something like regulations on human activity that involve burning fossil fuels and producing greenhouse gases, or you may say regulations or public policy on shifting from burning fossil fuels to renewable energy sources. That is this part that I've mentioned earlier.